Nonito Donaire advances to the semi-finals of the World Boxing Super Series in the bantamweight division, where he will face Zolani Tete. And he did it with a 4th round retirement victory over Ryan Burnett, ending Ryan Burnett's unbeaten streak and relieving him of his world title. A very strange ending to a fight indeed. Ryan Burnett threw a right hand, appeared to overextend, and his back went out. He went down to the canvas in agony. It looked like he wasn't going to get up, but when the referee started counting, as if he'd been hit with a shot beforehand, Burnett thought to himself, you know what, I better get up and fight through this because they're going to try and take the title from me. So he got up, he moved around the ring a little bit, he made it to the end of the round, but it was clear that his back had gone. He'd pulled a muscle or torn something, and that's all she wrote. He retired on his stool, or maybe it was his trainer Adam Booth who pulled him out. Whatever the case may be, he was in no fit state to continue. Nonito Donaire, even at 35, even as over the hill as he is, he's still vicious when he smells blood, and he was trying to take Ryan Burnett's head off in there. So the corner did the right thing, or Burnett did the right thing, pulling out. Now, Donaire, fighting a bantamweight for the first time in many years, didn't look too clever in there. He was getting speared by Burnett's jab, and it was looking to be something similar to what happened to Donaire against Carl Frampton. Although, I don't mean any disrespect, I'm just being objective here, okay? I've always viewed Ryan Burnett as a poor man's Carl Frampton, and it's not just because they're both from Northern Ireland and, you know, around the same kind of weight divisions. Obviously, Carl Frampton's a bit bigger. No, it's not that. Stylistically, they're similar. But Carl Frampton, to me, is just so much better. Carl Frampton hits much harder. Carl Frampton, to me, is more skilled and more exciting, more interesting to watch, to me, Carl Frampton, than Ryan Burnett. I've never been a particularly big fan of Burnett, to be honest with you. And he looked decent through the first few rounds against Nonito Donaire, but Donaire was getting close. He was getting to him with a few body shots here and there, and he just didn't have Donaire under control the same way, in the same way that Frampton had Donaire under control, or even Rigondeaux had Donaire under control. Be that as it may, it was a freak accident, and had that accident not occurred, I would not have been picking Nonito Donaire to win the fight. Yeah, even though I'm not a particularly big fan of Ryan Burnett, I've got nothing against him as a person. He's probably a cool guy. I've just never found him that entertaining to watch, to be honest with you. But as unentertaining as I find Ryan Burnett, he still, in my mind, would have had enough to deal with a washed up Nonito Donaire, who's been washed up for years. So, unfortunate to lose his titles like that, but Nonito Donaire, despite the fact that he was showing a lot of concern for his opponent and being very humble about it and not wanting to celebrate too much, deep down inside, you would have to imagine that he's going to be over the moon. He would have to be over the moon. I know he's trying to show respect and all that, and that's cool, that's honorable. But deep down inside, to get another world title at the age of 35, with 5 losses when he's way over the hill, he must be happy. I know he would have preferred to win the fight legitimately, but at this stage of his career, you got to take what you can get. So, a retirement win and a world title for Nonito Donaire, and a place in the semi-finals to earn even more money. Remember, these fighters in the World Boxing Super Series are getting paid very well. So, Donaire's going to be happy with the fact that he's going home with a belt and that he's in the semi-finals for another payday. So, one thing I do want to talk about before I close this out is actually, no, let me mention first, Donaire against Tete. Tete is going to be a big favorite in that fight. If Donaire somehow comes through against Tete, and let's say Inoue also comes through. Inoue hasn't fought his semi-final, has he? I don't think so. Let me just say he hasn't. But if Inoue comes through and is in the final and Donaire makes it to the final, Inoue versus Donaire, despite the fact Donaire's way over the hill, Inoue versus Donaire would be a massive, massive mega fight in Asia. That would be an enormous fight in Asia. And I'd be interested to see where the World Boxing Super Series would try and have that final if it included those two fighters. And lastly, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that tonight's show was aired on YouTube in the UK, because it was aired on DAZN in the US, but in the UK it was on YouTube because they couldn't secure a broadcasting deal with any of the major television networks in the UK for the World Boxing Super Series on this particular evening, which is very disappointing for the, how can I explain it, for the future of the World Boxing Super Series. It's great for fans, don't get it twisted. I love the fact that I could just tune into YouTube and watch it. But in terms of the future of this tournament, if they're having to put fights on YouTube for free, it airs of desperation, doesn't it? It doesn't fill you with that much confidence that this tournament can sustain itself in the long run, because they're paying fighters a hell of a lot of money. There's a hell of a lot of production costs. And if you've seen some of the recent shows, like when Prograis fought the other weekend, there was nobody in the arena. Literally nobody there. For this fight in this show in Scotland, obviously it was a full house because they've got a star, Josh Taylor, a local star. But when you look at the World Boxing Super Series overall this season, empty arenas, streaming fights on YouTube, it don't fill you with that much confidence. So what I will say to fans is enjoy the World Boxing Super Series while it's here, because it might not be here for too much longer, the way things are looking. Okay? They're surely losing money. I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but from what I read, they lost money on the first season. Now, I understand the people behind the World Boxing Super Series have got very deep pockets, but even people with deep pockets get to the point during a business venture where they think, you know what, this is not financially viable. Yes, we've lost money the first couple seasons, but if there's growth at a certain trajectory, then maybe we'll continue pumping money in and we'll see a return in our investment, 2-3 seasons down the line. But is that what they're seeing with the World Boxing Super Series right now? I don't know. I would imagine not. But who knows? Let me know what you think in the comment section below about Donaire, about Ryan Burnett, about the World Boxing Super Series, Donaire versus Zolani Tete, the potential of Donaire versus Inoue in the final, and how big that would be. Drop it all in the comments, people. It's happening. I'm out.
Join me on Patreon. I upload a minimum of 2 podcasts every single week, covering a wide variety of controversial topics, as well as live stream Q&A sessions. Take a look on screen right now at some of the podcasts I've produced so far. For just $3 a month, the equivalent of about £2 a month, you get access to all my new podcasts and my entire back catalogue of past podcasts, including my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. You can listen on your computer or on your smartphone or tablet by downloading the Patreon app from the Google Play Store or the App Store for free. The Patreon app also allows you to download each podcast in MP3. For less than the price of a cup of coffee, you get access to dozens of hours of exclusive content. It's easy to sign up, there's no contract, and you can cancel at any time. So come and join our community of free and critical thinkers by signing up with me here on Patreon today.